Welcome back to Squawk Box. In Washington, President Biden and second gentleman, the second gentleman is going to be meeting with Jewish community leaders at the White House, focusing on support for Israel following the Hamas terrorist attacks. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan will also be attending that meeting. And we want to dive in more to this topic because the rise in anti-Semitism this week following the surprise attack on Israel by Hamas has the Anti-Defamation League now calling on leaders of Fortune 500 companies and other corporations to sign a new workplace pledge and speak out against anti-Semitism. So far, corporations that have signed the pledge include Adidas, American Eagle, and many others. Joining us right now is Jonathan Greenblatt. He's the CEO and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League. Good morning.
Morning.
We've seen you, I don't want to say too many times this in the past couple of days, but we have now, and it's a sign of where we are, unfortunately. But tell us about where you are on this.
Well, look, I think one thing I would say, I think for me, and I think for not just Jewish people, I think all people of good conscience, I don't think the world will ever be quite the same. So I think much like 9/11 was a shift, and I think a recognition, like an end of innocence, I think this is like that as well. I think all of us are still, again, coping with the humanitarian crisis. You know, the loss of life is just horrible. I would also say that what's interesting for me is like seeing the president speak yesterday so convincingly and so clearly about the evil of Hamas, about the total unspeakable horror that happened.
Right.
What's interesting is to see his clarity, his moral clarity, and then the lack of moral clarity in so many other spheres is hard to cope with.
Okay, so you are now asking corporations to sign this pledge. To sign this document.
We are.
Tell me what's happening behind the scenes as it relates to this. And just as a bit of context, there was a period of time in America, I would argue, after the Business Roundtable signed their pledge that business was more than just about profits, where you saw lots of different pledges, statements, comments that corporations made. And in the last year, you've seen a lot of walking back, a lot of silence on a lot of different topics. So I'm so curious sort of where things, how this is playing out for you.
Well, it's interesting. Like if we think about the importance of leaders leading, right, and the role that CEOs and other public figures play sort of in the popular culture. I'll tell you, as I think about corporations, first I'll just mention universities, because I think we saw at Harvard the total, utter failure of leadership for days after the massacre. And the students who came out with this bizarre, bewildering piece. Yale University, the secretary and dean of academic life, put out a piece on the 9th, which is truly ghastly. In the passive voice, we deplore the loss of life on all sides. Like, this was a massacre of civilians, and if Yale University, like Harvard, like so many others, can't speak clearly when they have in the past about, and appropriately, by the way, about Black Lives Matter and stopping Asian hate and climate and so many other issues. So then we come to corporations, right?
What does the pledge say? What do you?
Well, the pledge basically says a few simple things. More than anything, it's we stand with our Jewish employees at a time when anti-Semitism has reached epic levels. In the days after this massacre, the report from the Ministry of Interior in France says there were 1,000 anti-Semitic incidents, 1,000 in the 2 days after the attack. In England, a 300% increase since the attack. So the pledge simply says, number one, stand with your Jewish employees. Like, be willing to do that publicly. So few CEOs have said anything. Jamie Dimon wrote an email.
Brian Roberts, by the way, CEO of this company.
Brian did too to his employees. Antonio Neri put something up from HP on LinkedIn. And I think, who else did? Ed Bastian from Delta.
But otherwise, lots of silence.
Lots of silence. So we're asking, number one, speak out publicly and say, in the face of evil, it's wrong and I stand with my Jewish employees, number one. Number two, in your training, like if you have DEI training, make sure anti-Semitism is addressed. That's it. Because I know that most of these DEI programs, they don't include anti-Jewish hate. And then wait, the third thing, if you have an employee resource group, if you have an employee affinity group, make sure there's one for your Jewish employees if they want it. That's all. So I got to tell you, the bar is so low. It should be easy for CEOs to get.
Are people telling you no?
Well, we're just rolling it out today. We've just been making quiet calls, so I wouldn't say that anyone's quote unquote saying no. But let's see how many say yes. Yeah. Where's the camera? As I look into the camera and say, CEOs, if you are asking yourself, what should I do? Should I speak up? And by the way, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the Business Roundtable, other sort of big umbrella groups have spoken out, but if you're a CEO with Jewish investors and shareholders, with Jewish employees, with Jewish friends and family, this is as easy as it gets. Just stand with them.
I've been a little shocked that there hasn't been more outspokenness on some of these issues, because when you look at the images that are coming out of women being raped, of children being murdered, of the fires. But I will tell you, even in my own small world with this, on a Mother's Club list that I'm on, with only a few hundred moms, there's been a raging argument back and forth because one mom said, hey, let's raise some money, call your congressman, do some things to reach out on this. Yeah. Not everybody in town agreed with that. And this is a very small group. And I think if you're getting resistance, that is why CEOs are going to be a little reluctant.
Look, it's true, Becky. We are a divided country on so many levels. It feels like everything has become politicized. And you kind of alluded to it. DEI has become sort of an evil three-letter word in many places. We are at the World Economic Forum. Right. And I had executive after executive saying to me, we don't use that word anymore. Like, I get it.
Look, DEI, ESG, all of it.
All of it is under CSR.
And most companies now would much prefer to make a statement through a broad coalition, like the Business Roundtable or the Council or the this or the that, because they don't want to stand up and be out there on their own. And so the question is, does that suffice? Does that mean that these companies have no courage? Should you be calling them out? Should you not be calling? Like, what's the right answer?
These things are always tricky, and I'd much rather work behind the scenes quietly than call people out publicly. But I will say, and I also should say, I get why CEOs want to talk about, EPS, if you will, right? Not ESG. I understand that impulse too. But there are some issues that are political, and there are some that are just moral. This isn't even right or wrong. This is good versus evil. So here's what I think we need to do, Becky, to the mothers group, to the university students. You just need to say, again, if you look at what happened, this doesn't require you to take a position on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This doesn't require you to take a position on Middle East politics. Saying that it's wrong to brutalize the elderly, to rape women, to murder parents in front of their children and then seize those kids as hostages? Come on. There is no world in which that's right. And I'll say something else about these students. Like, if you think it is decolonization to gun down teenagers as they're at a peace concert.
What do you say to Black Lives Matter?
Look, I think, it's interesting. The Black Lives Matter chapter in Chicago
and in
LA, they put out these graphics that say we stand with Palestine, pictures of people on hang gliders. It is hard to think of anything more sick and twisted. And I will tell you,
I just want to say one of the issues, and they're going to kill me because we got to go. But one of the issues here is that after George Floyd was murdered, and a lot of corporations came out and supported Black Lives Matter. Right? And then today they look at that and they disagree with that. They disagree with what Black Lives Matter is saying today. And they're questioning whether they should have supported it in the first place because they think that things went too far. And so this is the conversation that I'm hearing behind the scenes is if I come out and publicly say this is what I believe and I support this, if then that becomes something else later, I'm not defending. By the way,
I get you.
I'm with you, as you know. I'm with you.
I know you are. I know you are, Becky. I know this network and Brian Roberts and Comcast are too. So let me just say that. But I will say this. The appropriate analogy is not Black Lives Matter, which was a political movement. It is 9/11, which was a clarion call for moral leadership. Like, so when the CEO says, how do I put this into context? Again, this is not Black Lives Matter. This is not climate change. This is 9/11. And if these companies said after 9/11, we stand against Al-Qaeda, we stand with America, you need to stand with your Jewish employees right now, because Hamas is not only Al-Qaeda, it is not only ISIS, it is a terror organization which threatens all of us. Really. I mean, this is the kind of moral question we rarely face in life. They happen at these points in history. And so to the CEOs, to these university presidents whose equivocation is really mind-boggling, this is Germany, this is America in the 1930s. And this is like what was happening in Nazi Germany. So ask yourself, CEO or university president, should you have stayed silent in the 30s? I don't know. I think it's pretty easy.
I know you're asking corporate CEOs to sign on to this. University presidents as well?
I want, every university, if you have a DEI program and it doesn't include anti-Semitism, based on the standard, what we call the IRA definition, you're doing it wrong. If you're not standing with your Jewish students, you're doing it wrong. So they should go to ADL.org. They can email us at workplace@adl.org and speak up if there was ever a time.
Right.
And we've made it as easy as possible. There is no excuse to be silent in the face of evil. Last point, remember what Dr. King said. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends.
It's a very important message. We blew through a commercial because this was that important. By the way, we got the commercial guys right over there watching us.
That's it.
Yeah, so thank you for coming in this morning. Appreciate it very, very much.